the so-called the tigers of the East, were actually at the same level with us, and we're even richer than them. And Kenyans are looking for something to share. Hence, they need to have a sword to protect that which Kenyans will have, not to have a sword to destroy that which they have. In my view, how do you look at the priorities we have as a country? Is housing a solution? Yeah. Is that what we are doing, fleecing, getting this from Kenyans, that you are creating housing? What is really the concept of an economy growing, creating employment, getting everybody busy to produce?
I have a very different measure of the success of a government. It is not in concrete and mortar. It is not in the roads that you build.
No.
And this is one of the criticisms that I have of Kibaki. Of course, people praise him a lot. But I think the primary measure of the success of a president or a government is actually how the people feel about each other, about their country, about their lives. So if you see Kibaki, Kibaki is an interesting president for me because it was the first time that I voted. In 2002, we had 20 years, so I just gotten my idea about 2 years ago. That is the first time I was choosing a president. And we were very enthusiastic. I was in the university then, I was in second year. We were very happy because we were kicking Kanu out. What you guys, the machine that you people
machinery.
Yes.
Yes.
We were just happy that you guys, we didn't want you guys at all.
Yes.
So we went to the polls very enthusiastic. I remember even just the energy at the polling stations. It was something very different. And if you remember, after that election, there was a measure that Kenyans were the most optimistic people. Cyrus, the joy that we used to get when we realized we could arrest a police officer, you cannot compare that feeling with the feeling of a new road. It's not the same thing. When they say Kenyans were the most optimistic after that election, what does it mean? It is very critical to analyze what a government represents to the people. You must give people hope that the country can actually change, that all the bad manners that we had been practicing can be left behind. We can have a new country where everybody is happy, things work for you, you have equal opportunity, you're not going to be judged because of your second name. Because my name is Sifuna from Western Kenya, immediately somebody sees my CV, puts it aside, and wants to look at the Kipkuleis, and that is the bad manners that we don't want to go back to. And you have seen, in the current regime, every single time William Ruto puts out a gazette notice, appointments to boards, appointments to parastatals, to any government institution, it is just his village mates, you know? What does that do to young people from Nyanza, young people from the coast, who have actually also gone to school and they are looking for a country that works for everyone? That feeling is the most critical. And the reason why I have always blamed Kibaki for losing that moment that Kenyans were the most optimistic, because it didn't take long. Within 1.5 years, there were already people from his Mount Kenya backyard saying, you know, some of his characters are used to being in opposition. They are already uncomfortable in government. They should leave. You remember the Murungarus? And they used to talk so badly. And that hope, that optimism that we had acquired after kicking Kanu out and having this new government that we thought would work for everyone was absolutely lost. And for me, that makes everything else that Kibaki did, it just doesn't make any sense to me. So if you look at the current regime, what they are doing, there is something very disturbing. That in fact, as you said yourself, there is no one person who knows everything. There's no one person who knows everything. But Kenya has a lot of resources in terms of its people. People have ideas. They can help you to deliver a country that works for everyone. But we have a situation where for as long as the idea is coming from Sifuna, and I am known to associate with the opposition, that idea is dismissed upfront. They will not even utilize the ideas that are coming from the opposition every time they tell us, oh, what is your alternative? If we bring alternatives to the table, they will not listen to them. They would rather fail with their ideas than grab an idea from their perceived opponents that actually works for the country.